Good evening, everyone out there. My leg is fine and I hope it will be recovered soon. But chalo. So, very sorry, guys, couldn't take class. But now, without wasting any further time, let's very quickly start. So, the topic last time we were discussing, good evening, everyone out there. So, the last topic which we took, we'll start the class in another 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes, we'll start the class. So the last topic that we were taking up was the role of education system as far as socialization is concerned. And we have already discussed about role of family. I hope I'm audible, right? So we have already discussed what was the role of family as far as socialization is concerned. Then we also discussed the role of education system. Now there are one or two topics which are remaining as far as socialization is concerned. One is media. See, media is a very important instrument or an agent of socialization. Now the question arises, what is media? So in simple terms, media is nothing but a channel of communication, right? Through which the ideas, the knowledge, information, entertainment gets disseminated. Okay? This is what we mean in layman terms, that what do you understand by media? Now the question arises, there are different manifestation of media. For example, you have television channels, you have print media, you have magazines, you have radio, you have social media. So there are different platforms or manifestation of media. Is that very clear? Now the question arises that how media acts as an agent of socialization, right? So how it is acting as an agent of socialization? It acts as a tool for social management. I think I need to dictate, right? You might not have written anything. So just write it down in very, very layman term. Just write, good evening people, good evening everyone out there. Just write down, media refers to channel of communication. Media refers to channel of communication through which ideas, information, entertainment gets disseminated. There are different manifestation of social media. You can write some of them, like television channels, that is news channels, radio, social media, print media. Okay? So these are nothing but the manifestation. Now the question arises how it is acting as a tool of socialization. Now you know socialization is shaping the value. Okay. I'll repeat. Media refers to channel of communication through which ideas, information, entertainment gets disseminated. Ideas, information, entertainment gets disseminated. आप कोई भी मीडिया का डेफिनेशन उठा के गूगल करके कुछ भी लिख सकते हो. दिस इज अ सिंपल अंडरस्टैंडिंग इन अ वेरी लेमैन टर्म दैट व्हाट इज एक्चुअल मीडिया. सो इट्स अ चैनल ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन through which your ideas, your information, entertainment is getting disseminated, spread hota hai. Is that clear? There are different manifestation of media. So whether it is your social media, whether it is your print media, whether it is television channels, so that is what it means when we say dissemination of ideas through different mode or mediums. Is that clear? You don't have to write everything which I say. Sometimes क्या होता है जब आप spontaneously कुछ बोलते हो, so there are different ways in which the statement is articulated. So you don't have to write everything, just write it in your own understanding. ठीक है, simple words में. Now, it acts as a tool for social management. It is acting as a tool for social diffusion. It is also acting as a tool for social change. Social management से मतलब है to maintain the status quo, as in whatever situation is existing, to maintain that situation, that is social management. So you are basically going for status quoism, that is you are maintaining the existing pattern or the system. So that is social management. For example, अगर कोई rich है, कोई dominant section है, corporate house है या कोई political party है, which is the, let us say, the dominant corporate houses or the dominant political party is the one who's owning the media houses. So they want to continue with their domination. They want to continue with their hegemony. So media can be used as a tool to maintain the status quoism. उसे कहते हैं social management. एक example दे के बता रही हूँ ये बात, that when we talk about that how it is acting as a social management tool, so basically an example of this can be that if there is any dominant corporate house which is owning the media, right? So through that, it will try to maintain status quo. Is this clear? Write down the example. For example, if rich and dominant owns the media, for example, if rich and dominant owns the media, if rich and dominant owns the media, they want status quo in society. If rich, this is just an example, if rich and dominant owns, if rich and dominant owns the media, they want status quo in the society. They want the status quo in the society. Status quo in the society so as to continue with their domination. 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 Right? So this is social management. Similarly, when I talk about social diffusion, so it's a platform through which your culture, your ideas, your values, your beliefs, all of this is getting disseminated. All of this is getting disseminated. That is, it is also acting as a tool for social diffusion. Diffusion matlab the process through which your culture, your ideas, your concepts, your values, all of that is getting spread. So it's a tool for social diffusion. It's a tool for social diffusion. That is the process through which process through which culture, values, belief, ideas get spread or disseminated. They get disseminated. And last point is quite obvious, that media can act as a tool to bring about social change. So when your ideas, your progressive ideas are getting disseminated, they are acting as a mode to bring about, that's a precursor to bring about social change. So media is also acting as an agent of social change. Is this clear? So what is media? It's a medium of or channel of communication through which your ideas, your information, entertainment is getting disseminated. There are different manifestations of media. Characteristic feature, how media acts as a tool for social management, social diffusion and social change. आप social change में लिख सकते हो #MeToo campaign, right? So that is there to bring about social change. #MeToo campaign. #MeToo campaign. Is this very clear? Next, give the heading. It influences the process of socialization. It influences the process of socialization. It influences the process of socialization by providing topics for debate, deliberation and discussion. How it is acting as a tool of socialization? By providing topics for debate, deliberation and discussion. It also acts Second, not only it provides the basis for debate, deliberation and discussion, it also acts as a means of vicarious reinforcement. Acts as a means of vicarious reinforcement. It shapes our attitude, opinion and aspirations. It shapes our attitude, opinion and you can say that it influences our aspiration. That would be better word. अलग से point लिख सकते हो. It will So media is shaping your attitude. It is being said the one who controls media controls your mind. So how media plays a very significant role in shaping your attitude, in shaping your opinion. It is also influencing your aspirations, right? So this is how media is playing such a significant role. Is this very clear? Now, do you remember, have you all been part of the essay class? In the Vicarious reinforcement, Pushpendra, that if in the public domain we reward a behavior, then there is a very strong probability that a common man is going to replicate that behavior. So this is how you are shaping the value system of the common man, through vicarious reinforcement. If there is an XYZ person and in that XYZ person has done something very good and the person has been rewarded on a public domain, so it is a very strong tendency that a common man is going to replicate that behavior. So that good value system would also be provided to the common man. Is that very clear? Okay. Now, what I was saying with respect to media is that we have already discussed the topic of media when I was discussing essay with you. In case you have not attended the essay class, but the access would be provided to you. Yes, absolutely. Biased media is a threat to Indian democracy. Right? Rimjim, the access would anyway be provided to you. Okay, na? So what you can do is just go through the synopsis. So in the synopsis, you will get the content. I have discussed in very much detail that what is media, different manifestation, significance of media. ठीक है, तो हमने वो biased media is a threat to Indian democracy. We have discussed the topic. So in the synopsis of the essay classes, you will get the requisite content. क्योंकि media is not the part of your ethics syllabus. Only media as an agent of socialization is a part of your ethics syllabus. Is that clear? So generally write down positive impact of media. Positive impact of media. Heading डालो. Positive impact of media. Positive impact of media. It acts, पहला point, it acts as a source of infotainment, information, infotainment. That is information plus entertainment, right? So that is infotainment. So positive impact is infotainment. It promotes scientific temper. ये मीडिया का पॉजिटिव इम्पैक्ट है. It promotes scientific temper. It creates awareness with respect to diverse culture, which in turns promote tolerance. So it is acting as a source of infotainment. It helps in developing scientific temper. That is second point. आप बस ये pointers लिखते जाओ, पूरा पूरा statement लिखने का जरूरत नहीं है. Third, it creates awareness with respect to diverse culture, hence promote tolerance. It helps in removal of stereotypes and prejudices. ये आज हम पढ़ेंगे. Stereotype and prejudices, just write down. It helps in removal of stereotypes and prejudices. It plays educative role. For example, Bharat Ek Khoj. So through this, they are also playing the role of providing education. So they are also providing the role of education. For example, Bharat Ek Khoj. Next point, it provides voice to the stakeholders. It provides voice to the stakeholders. It promotes gender and social awareness. First point, it provides voice to the stakeholders. And next is it promotes gender and social awareness. वैसे जेंडर सोशल में ही आ जाएगा, सो यू कैन जस्ट राइट इट प्रमोट सोशल अवेयरनेस. Negative impact. Negative impact. We are just writing general aspects about media. Negative impact, commodification, consumerism, radicalization. अब तो ये सारे पॉइंट्स पता है ना, these are nothing new. You can write the answer on your own as well. For example, consumerism, commodification, objectification, radicalization, relative deprivation, clear hai? So you can write these points. You can further write intolerance, prejudices. तो वो लिखना चाहो तो लिखो, बट कोई पॉइंट नहीं है क्योंकि वो एनीवे आप पॉजिटिव में लिख चुके हो, तो उसका राइट एंटोनिम लिखने का कोई सेंस नहीं बनता. ठीक है. Now, write down a question. I actually wanted to discuss this question with you. So write down the question. With proliferation of social media, write down this question. I actually wanted to discuss this. With proliferation, you might get a question on this. With proliferation of social media, people have got the opportunity to express their views anonymously. And freely. With proliferation of social media, people have got the opportunity to express their views anonymously and more freely. What, according to you, is its effect on the social and political culture of the country? What, according to you, is its effect on the social and political culture of the country? Absolutely, the negative points that you have written is absolutely correct. ठीक है, ये हम एक्चुअली मीडिया में कर चुके थे. सेंसेशनलाइजेशन ऑफ न्यूज, और फॉर दैट मैटर फेक न्यूज, ट्रिविलाइजेशन ऑफ न्यूज, राइट. रेडिकलाइजेशन इज कट्टरता. ठीक. मिस इंफॉर्मेशन, misrepresentation of facts, partial depiction of reality, manufactured news. So there can be many things which can be written in general, right? However, you might get a question with respect to social media. So just asking, can you structure the answer? With proliferation of social media, people have got the opportunity to express their views anonymously and more freely. What, according to you, is its effect on the social and political culture of the country? What, according to you, is its effect on the social and political culture of the country? Five minutes. Give me the structure. गिव मी अ जनरल स्ट्रक्चर, लिख लोगे? ठीक है, this is how I expect when you are writing your answer. Start with what do you mean by social media? ठीक है? All those websites, apps which enables user to create and share content or to participate in social networking. एक basic understanding. ठीक है? Good. So what is social media? This is how one can write. Now, the only thing which I wanted you to focus while writing the answer is, in one line, just define what do you mean by social culture and political culture. See, you must be wondering that why am I asking you to do this? I'm asking you, if the question would have been asked in, let us say, GS paper 1, there was no need of doing this, as in to define social and political culture. Your focus would have been on writing the positive and the negative impact. But we are writing answer in ethics paper. So when you are writing in ethics paper, every concept which is there in the question needs to be defined. Even if it is very briefly, but you should define, right? So what is social culture? It refers to beliefs, customs, norms, behavior. ये लिखना है, ये PPT नहीं है, right? This is not the PPT, so please make the noting of it. और जब लिख लो तो मुझे बता देना. Social culture, it refers to belief, customs, norms, behavior existing in the society. What is political culture? See, political culture का मतलब होता है what is the perception of the citizen towards their political system. Whether your political system is top down or bottom up, whether it is democratic or autocratic. So it totally depends upon that. That what is the perception of the citizen towards the political system, right? So whether it is transparent or it is opaque, whether it is people-centric or rule-centric, right? So what kind of political system, whether it is consultative, participative, okay, accountable. So what kind of political system that we have? Anshul, significance of social media, define social, political, and then one linking statement. Very good. Perfect. Perfect, Anshul. Ma'am, but how do we link the three definitions, or should we? Rishabh, you can start, see, social media को फिर भी छोड़ सकते हो define करने से, ठीक है? Because this definition I gave, if specifically the question will come separately on social media, you could have just started that social media is having a considerable influence on every aspect of life, such as the social culture as well as the political culture. Then you can talk about what do you mean by social culture. Once you define social culture, then you can talk about the impact on the social culture. Then you can talk about the political culture, and you can discuss the impact on the political culture, and then you can conclude. This is also one of the way of doing it. Is that very clear, Rishabh? ठीक है? Or you can do social and political culture, you can clearly define, and then you can talk about how social media has considerably influenced both social and political culture. However, the influence has both positive and negative connotation. This becomes your linking statement, Rishabh, and then you can come to the point. Is that very clear? Is it making sense? ठीक है? So very quickly, social media, social culture, political culture. I'll repeat the structure. रिमझिम कोई स्टैंडर्ड स्ट्रक्चर ऐसा नहीं होता कि एक ही स्ट्रक्चर है, बट जनरली फॉर एग्जांपल सम कैन राइट द डेफिनेशन ऑफ सोशल मीडिया, सम कैन अवॉइड इट ऑल्सो, क्योंकि विद टू मेनी व्हाट इफ द क्वेश्चन इज ओनली ऑफ 10 मार्क्स, तब क्या करेंगे? सो व्हाट यू कैन डू इज दैट यू कैन स्टार्ट विथ that how social media has considerable influence on every aspect, one of them being the social and political culture. Then you can define what is social culture, what is political culture. Then you can talk about how the impact has both the connotation, negative as well as positive. Negative as well as positive. ठीक है? हाँ, चित्रांश, in the introduction itself. In the body, you are only going to discuss the positive and negative impact. ठीक है? रिमझिम अब क्लियर है बच्चे स्ट्रक्चर, तो इंट्रोडक्शन ये हो गया, फिर हम आते हैं बॉडी पे। मैंने थोड़ा डिटेल में लिखा है, आप डिपेंडिंग अपॉन ऑल्सो नोन एज शांतनु एके ऑल्सो नोन एज, ठीक है? नाउ यू वॉन्ट टू राइट in detail or not, it totally depends upon the weightage. What if the question in the exam is only about the social culture or it is only about the political culture? ठीक है ना? इसलिए what is the impact on social culture, ये हम सबको पता है, right? You become more aware and accommodative of diversity. Tolerance is developed. Questioning of retrograding practices. Challenging various prejudices which are existing. Development of social capital, platform. Ashish, in essay you can do that, but I don't think you will have the scope to do in the ethics paper. बहुत लंबे question पूछते हैं and the questions are hardly 10 marker. You don't have the scope of doing it. Essay में absolutely do that. ठीक है? Debates, deliberation, discussion, and it is the platform for expression. There are a lot of people now who are slightly introvert and everything. So social media also provides the platform for expression because it is anonymous. So you can express your viewpoints more freely. Okay? So that's a positive thing about it. It can also play a very significant role in tackling the crimes which are happening around. I remember I gave you the example. There was this guy, Adarsh Srivastav. I think I've given you this example, who was traveling and he happened to see some fishy incident happening, and later it was found that those girls were getting trafficked, right? So he was traveling by the train. He found something wrong because there were a group of girls who were very, in a very panic stricken mode. So he immediately, tweeted to the railway ministry and, the PMO that I'm traveling by so-and-so train in so-and-so compartment and this is what the problem is there. So immediately that was being taken note of, and the subsequent station which was there, so immediately they addressed the situation. They asked the girls and the two members who were there with them to deboard the train, and later it was found that it was a case of trafficking. So that is the power of social media, but that depends to what use you are putting it to. Okay? So that is nothing but the positive impact, how it is strengthening your social culture. It is developing social capital. Networking is improving, right? It is challenging various myth, prejudices which are existing in the society. It is providing you the platform for expression. Clear here? However, the negative impact, spread of hatred, cyberbullying, abuse, troll culture, spread of enmity, communalism, gender-based violence, diffusion of responsibility, social unrest. Diffusion of responsibility matlab, since it is anonymous, you know that you will not be held responsible, right? So in the name of diffusion matlab, you will not be held accountable for that. So it would be easy for you to diffuse your responsibility. So that concept is known as diffusion of responsibility. And once there is a problem of diffusion of responsibility, then the probability of committing deviant acts is very high. कभी आपने देखा mob violence क्यों होता है? Mob lynching क्यों होती है? Because mob doesn't have a face. Mob knows that it would be very difficult to hold them accountable, right? So there is a diffusion of responsibility. There is no deterrence factor. They know they would not be punished for that, right? So that is nothing but diffusion of responsibility, which can further result into social unrest situation. So this is nothing but the impact of social media on the social culture. इतना लिख लो तो मुझे बताते हैं. Done? Impact on the, not yet. लिखो. अब तो हो गया होगा. See, these are some points. I'll tell you the reason why did I give a structured format so that it can stay with you. But इसमें ऐसा कोई भी point नहीं है जो आपको नहीं पता हो. You know these points very well. Impact on the political culture. It provides the platform for mobilization of people for a political cause. That's a good thing, right? It provides you the platform. In fact, it plays a very significant role in strengthening of democracy. Do you realize democracy in simple words, by the people, for the people, of the people. So it provides you the platform for strengthening of the democracy because it is providing you the platform for mobilization of people for a political cause, right? It also helps in dissemination of information. Again, I'll repeat the point that it is an active and informed citizenry which strengthens democracy. So democracy is a good political system, right? But if you do not have an active and informed, quote unquote, you need to be active, but at the same time, you need to be informed. So if you are not an active and informed citizenry, then it would not be acting as a boon for the democracy. So you have to be active and you have to be informed. So an active and informed citizenry strengthens democracy. Then, social media can play a very important role in ensuring accountability and responsibility, which further strengthens democracy. Then it facilitates the participation of people indirectly in policy making by providing them the platform for deliberation, discussion, and debate. So they can contribute to policy making. So then the political culture becomes participative, consultative, bottom up, right? However, the challenge of social media as far as political culture is concerned, when it is used as a platform for spreading fake news or a propaganda. When it is used as a platform for spreading fake news or a propaganda. How should we conclude? How should we conclude? Rimjim, e-governance is more of delivery of services, right? जब हम पॉलिटिकल कल्चर की बात करते हैं तो फाइन, इवन इफ यू वांट टू राइट तो आप ये कह सकते हो positively disposed towards the political culture due to efficient delivery of services, example e-governance, अगर इस तरह से करना चाहो तो ठीक है, अदरवाइज नहीं बनता. पॉलिटिकल कल्चर का मतलब होता है बच्चे योर परसेप्शन अबाउट द पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम. यू बिलीव that your political system is accountable, it is responsible. Why? Because you are able to hold it accountable through the platform of social media. So in case you want to write this example, you can say that you believe the political system is ensuring effective delivery of services. ठीक है, so there is smooth e-governance. See, overall, if I have to conclude, so the question said that social media creates opportunity because you can express yourself anonymously, freely, and it can have a good positive impact on the political as well as the social culture. However, it has a negative impact also. So then you need to realize that per se, prima facie, every technology is neutral, right? It all depends to what use it has been put to, which will define whether it has a positive role or it is having a negative role. Social media per se is a very neutral concept, right? Now, whether you are using social media for a good thing or for a bad thing will determine the impact and the role of social media, right? So Muhammad Yunus says that technology per se is neutral. It depends upon what use it has been put to. Is this clear? Absolutely. Media is like a double-edged sword. It can act a tool to strengthen democracy. Exactly. That's what the point is. On the other hand, it can threaten your social as well as the political culture. Perfect. किसने लिखा है? शांतनु, I guess. Perfect. Absolutely, Anshul. Perfect. Yes, Anshul, perfect. Very good. Shantanu, very good. पॉजिटिव, प्रसंत पूरा पॉजिटिव लिखना पड़ेगा ऐसे, पॉजिटिव नेगेटिव. Shantanu, it was being said that technology per se is neutral. It depends to what use it has been put to. To what use it has been put to. Is that clear? Manish, ma'am, can you give examples as to what constitutes India's political culture? Manish, what is your perception about India's political system that constitutes India's political culture? Again, it would be very subjective, right? My opinion can be different from your opinion. And disclaimer, I refrain from giving any personal opinion in any of the lecture, and I have been saying this time and again, but then anyhow. So Manish, that totally depends upon you, bachche, and you've studied your polity, right? So polity mein padha hoga what kind of political system we have in India. So that constitutes political culture. ठीक है? चलो. Can we proceed now? Next topic. Role of religion as an agent of socialization. Very quickly, give the heading. Role of religion as an agent of socialization. Role of religion as an agent of socialization. Religion is defined as unified set of religion is defined as unified set or system, unified system of beliefs and practices. Religion is defined as unified system of beliefs and practices which unites people into one single moral community, which unites people into one single moral community, one single moral community. Again, I'll repeat, religion is a unified system of beliefs and practices which unite people into one single moral community. Just write down few things. It is an integrative social force. It is an integrative social force which shapes the collective identity. It is an integrative social force which shapes the collective identity. Which shapes the collective identity. Which shapes the collective identity. Next. It gives an individual a sense of belongingness. It gives an individual sense of belongingness. Religious rituals promote group solidarity, promote group solidarity, promote group solidarity or cohesion, promote group solidarity or cohesion, Next, religious teachings helps in shaping the goals of one's life. Religious teachings help in shaping goals of one's life. It provides a framework to manage misery. It provides a framework to manage misery. Next, role of religion as an agent of socialization cannot be ignored. Role of religion as an agent of socialization cannot be ignored. As role of religion as an agent of socialization cannot be ignored as first point, it is a primary transmitter of our core personal and societal values. It is a primary transmitter of our core personal and societal values. It is through our religion that the values are transmitted from one generation to another. So it is a primary transmitter of core personal and societal values. Next, values enshrined in our constitution. Values enshrined in our constitution are fundamental precepts of most religion. Are fundamental precepts of most religion. Values enshrined in our constitution are fundamental precepts of most religion. For example, equality, tolerance, universal brotherhood, social justice, etc. I'll repeat. Values enshrined in our constitution are fundamental precepts of most religion. Example, equality, tolerance, universal brotherhood, social justice, etc. Next, many leaders, next point, आप और भी लिख सकते हो, इक्वालिटी, टॉलरेंस, सोशल जस्टिस, यूनिवर्सल ब्रदरहुड, यू कैन एक्ट मोर ऑल्सो, ठीक है. मैनी लीडर्स, और यहां पे लीडर्स के नाम भी आप कोई भी दे सकते हो, एज यू विश, विच एवर लीडर यू आर फॉन्ड ऑफ, who you think have called upon religious values to awaken the moral sensibilities of the nation, you can quote the name. So many leaders have called upon religious values. Many leaders have called upon religious values to awaken the moral sensibilities of the nation. To awaken the moral sensibilities of the nation. Many leaders have called upon religious values to awaken moral sensibilities of the nation. Next. Religion helps the individual to cope up with the dysfunctional influences, drugs, violence, negative peer group, etc. Anshul, I was looking for examples more from the political domain. But anyhow, if you want to give, you can. क्योंकि मैंने कहीं लिखा तो नहीं है कि political leadership, but yeah, you can give. Absolutely, no issues. ठीक है? But if you want, you can give examples of political leadership also. ठीक है? Is this clear for everyone? Can we proceed? एक लास्ट टॉपिक है छोटू सा एकदम, रोल ऑफ पीयर ग्रुप. है बहुत छोटू सा टॉपिक, there is nothing to teach, but the role is very important. If you think about it, role of peer group is very important, especially in the adolescent stage. That is the stage when we are not able to share a lot of things with the family members, right? And peer group is one group in which you are interacting among the co-equals. The interaction is among the co-equals. So then it becomes very influential. So what is the kind of peer group that you have? It plays a very significant role in shaping your value system, specifically in your adolescent age group. So your life goals, your occupational goals, your value system, your behavior, many things are shaped by the kind of peer group that you have. That is why we say that right kind of socialization, if given, right kind of parenting, if given, then the probability of falling in the trap of negative peer group can be avoided. Is that clear? So write down role of peer group as an agent of socialization. Role of peer group. Interaction. It is referred as interaction among co-equals. It is referred as interaction among co-equals. Rimjim, if you want an example, I can give you example in international context. For example, Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King, right? So yeah, that can be an example in international context. So if you want to write an international example, ये लिख सकते हैं, ठीक है? Abraham Lincoln can be written. Write down interaction among co-equals, role of peer group. Their ideas are more flexible. Their ideas are more flexible. Their ideas are more flexible. Range of topics taken for interaction is very wide. Range of topics taken for interaction is very wide. Importance of peer group is at its peak during adolescence. Importance of peer group is at its peak during adolescence. Hence, peer group association, along with inputs by family, hence peer group association, along with inputs by family and school, are very significant with respect to socialization, are very significant with respect to socialization. Last point, peer group influences are, peer group, last point, peer group influences are life goals, occupational goals, behavior, etc. Life goals, occupational goals, behavior, etc. There are various incidences of negative socialization in the peer group. There are various incidences of negative socialization in the peer group. There are various incidences of negative socialization with respect to peer group. Clear for everyone? So with this, the role of socialization comes to an end. We have studied various agencies. You can get direct question. Okay? You can get direct question about the agencies of socialization, the methods of socialization. And I remember there was a time when the question was asked that what shapes your attitude? Right. So do you realize that it is the socialization through which your value system develops? And I told you, when values are applied to an object, idea, or a people, that is attitude, which we'll study now, right? So what I said was that when your values are object tied, it becomes the attitude. So what shapes your attitude depends upon these agencies of socialization. It depends upon family values. It depends upon the value-based education or the kind of parenting which we have got. It depends upon the religious value system. It depends upon media. It depends upon your peer group, and you can further add more to it. For example, role of leaders. Now that's the assignment for you. What you need to do is that you have to identify 2-3 leaders which or from whom you are inspired. And it can be anyone. You are inspired by Gandhiji, you are inspired by Swami Vivekanand, you are inspired by Rabindranath Tagore, let us say. So whosoever, the charismatic personality, let's not put it leader, whoever charismatic personality has influenced you in your life, prepare 2-3 examples. और कैसे एग्जाम्पल तैयार करोगे? एपीजे अब्दुल कलाम. So let us say that you are inspired by APJ Abdul Kalam. You are inspired by Lal Bahadur Shastri. You are inspired by Gandhi ji. So you have to prepare that what value system, what teaching of there has inspired you, and how have you inculcated that in your everyday life by means of an example. This is how you have to prepare. Is that very clear? Now tell me, did you understand? Did you understand what I tried to say? I said you can take or prepare examples of at least 2-3 charismatic personalities, right? From whom you have drawn the inspiration. I'll tell you the reason. जब UPSC सवाल पूछता है तो वो ये करके पूछता है कि give example that how that value system which was shaped by these charismatic personality have you imbibed in your everyday life. So for example, I have learned integrity from Gandhiji, or I have learned humbleness from Lal Bahadur Shastri. I have learned honesty or responsibility assumption from Lal Bahadur Shastri, or I have learned courage from Sam Manik Shaw, or I have learned efficiency in my work, professionalism, right? Integrity, courage, wisdom from T.N. Seshan. So depends, whichever value that you have learned from those charismatic personalities, how can you apply that values, or to where have you applied that value system in your everyday life? Prepare example. UPSC direct सवाल ऐसे ही पूछता है कि give example from your everyday life, where have you used this value system? Is this very clear? Is this very clear for everyone? Can we proceed? अगर ये हो गया हो तो can we proceed? That social media वाला question, try to write it now. ठीक है? और इतना डिटेल में मत लिखना. It's a 10 marker question. अपने words में लिखना और छोटू सा लिखना. Give the heading attitude. Give the next heading attitude. Let me make the flow chart for you. this is how we will study. चित्रांश, एग्जाम में पूछेंगे तब लिखना बच्चे, एग्जाम में ऐसा क्वेश्चन आता है that by giving one example from your everyday life, discuss how have you used that value system or how have you applied that value system. और कोई भी एक सिंपल सा एग्जांपल उठा लेना, उसमें कोई बहुत रॉकेट साइंस करने का जरूरत नहीं है. फॉर एग्जांपल सपोज करो किसी से तुमने ऑनेस्टी सीखी, ठीक है, तो तुमने वो ऑनेस्टी, हाउ डिड यू अप्लाई दैट ऑनेस्टी? So when you thought something wrong is happening, although there was a pressure to succumb to it, but you did not succumb, you were being honest, right? तो ऐसे करके कोई fictional example या real life example हुआ है तो very good. So this is how it has to be written. तो question पूछेंगे वो तब लिखना है, otherwise नहीं लिखना है. Prasant, with see, reference group necessarily is not the peer group. Your reference group can be any group, right? But when I was discussing that topic, that time the reference group was the peer group. Okay? So not always the peer group is the reference group. Your reference group matlab the group whom you look up to, right? Whom you want to become like them, right? So that is the reference group. अब वो रेफरेंस ग्रुप पॉजिटिव भी हो सकता है, नेगेटिव भी हो सकता है, ठीक है. उस पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक में द पीयर ग्रुप वाज द रेफरेंस ग्रुप. सिद्धांत, वहां तो वर्क करना पड़ेगा भाई. इतना एथिक्स के मॉक टेस्ट प्रैक्टिस कर लेना कि अपने आप एग्जांपल्स देना सीख जाओगे. ऐसा नहीं है हर साल क्वेश्चन आता है, बट आता है. सो एटलीस्ट यू शुड प्रिपेयर योरसेल्फ इन दैट कैपेसिटी. Uh, generalize the relations. डिपेंड करता है एग्जाम्पल कैसा दे रहे हो. डिपेंड करता है व्हाट काइंड ऑफ एग्जाम्पल यू आर गिविंग. प्रसंत, इंटीग्रिटी में लिख सकते हैं. You can write as a part of integrity. कर सकते हो, थोड़ा जनरलाइज कर दो. It would be better. इट्स ओके, इट्स ओके. इंटीग्रिटी में लिख सकते हो, बिल्कुल लिख सकते हो. He was upholding the value system for which he always stood. Absolutely. Whenever you are standing by your ethical standards, whenever you are not succumbing to the pressure, you are standing, you are holding your grounds. Absolutely, it is right. Yes, yes, absolutely. Yes, it has to be very brief. कहानी नहीं लिखनी है अपने एग्जाम्पल की. मैं एक बात क्लियर कर दूं, एथिक्स के पेपर में 10 ही नंबर का सवाल आएगा. एंड उसमें आपको कॉन्सेप्ट को डिफाइन भी करना होगा, एग्जाम्पल भी देना होगा, उसके फीचर्स भी लिखने होंगे. सो एथिक्स पेपर, टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट, the problem which the students face when the ethics paper is there is not the difficulty. What I have observed, it is more the general nature. What according to you is happiness? तो वहां हम कंफ्यूज हो जाते हैं. यार नहीं यार, यूपीएससी ने हैप्पीनेस पूछी है तो कुछ तो अच्छी डेफिनेशन देनी पड़ेगी ना. सिली आंसर्स नहीं लिख सकते. तो दैट्स व्हाट आई एम सेइंग. दे आर लुकिंग फॉर एग्जांपल्स फ्रॉम योर सोशो कल्चरल लाइफ. ठीक है ना. तो यू हैव टू बी ब्रीफ. You don't have to sound very juvenile, but you don't have to be very academic either. Are you getting the point? अब वो पूछ रहे, आप किसी को बहुत गुस्सा आता है. This was the question UPSC asked. That anger is the root cause. How will you manage anger? ये कौन तैयार करा सकता है भाई इस तरह का यूपीएससी? अब हमें पता है कि यूपीएससी has asked this question. Otherwise, when this question was asked for the very first time, anger management की classes थोड़ी ना चल रही है, वैसे चलनी चाहिए, लेकिन I'm generally saying, how will you manage anger? This is what they asked, right? So you yoga, meditation, distraction through sense of humor or counting till 10. ये तो हम एवरीडे लाइफ में करते हैं. अब आप बोलोगे कि मैम ये सब लिखना था इसमें, तो एंगर मैनेजमेंट की कोई क्लासेस नहीं लिखनी है. हाउ वुड यू मैनेज एंगर? इट्स अ सिंपल क्वेश्चन विच इज बीन आस्क्ड. तो जो आप करोगे एंगर मैनेजमेंट के लिए वो लिख कर आ जाओ. तो 10 ही नंबर का सवाल आता है, उसके लिए इतना ज्यादा अकेडमिकली ओरिएंट होने की जरूरत नहीं है कि मतलब मैं ऐसा क्या लिखूं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं. यू हैव टू राइट व्हाट इज रेलिवेंट, यू हैव टू राइट व्हाट इज राइट, जो सही चीज है वो लिखनी है. इज दैट क्लियर? ठीक है ना? तो ट्राई प्रैक्टिसिंग. एथिक्स इज ऑल अबाउट द मोर यू प्रैक्टिस द मोर यू गेट हैंग ऑफ इट. वेरी क्विकली लेट्स स्टार्ट विद दिस. बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बिक्रम, एब्सोल्युटली फिनोमिनल एग्जाम्पल. यस यू कैन. परफेक्ट. Yes, you can do that. Very quickly, let's start with this topic. Have you written this flowchart? What is the concept of attitude? Write down the definition. I think I've given you the definition, but एक आध लिख लो. They are lasting evaluation of various aspects of our social world. They are lasting evaluation. They are lasting evaluation हाँ रिमझिम, थोड़ा सा एकेडमिक करना पड़ता है, उसके लिए हमारे पास डेफिनेशंस हैं, कुछ स्टैंडर्ड एग्जांपल्स हैं, तो उससे हम उसे एकेडमिक टोन दे देंगे. रेस्ट यू हैव टू राइट ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग. Absolutely, you don't have to overthink and complicate. जितना relevant लिखोगे, contextually correct लिखोगे, that is more important. Rather than writing those fancy notions, that's not important. ठीक है? वो actually तुम्हारा ethics ही तो check कर रहे हैं ना. Write down. Attitude are nothing but lasting evaluation of various aspects of our social world. They are lasting evaluation of various aspects of our social world. Next, it is the organization of, it is another definition to it. It is the organization of beliefs. It is the organization of beliefs, feeling. It is the organization of beliefs, feeling, behavioral tendencies towards socially significant object, groups, events, or symbols. Objects, groups, events, or symbols. See, I told you that if you know the value system of, let us say, a person A, so you know in general that in what context or how the person is going to behave, but you can't guarantee. And I already gave you the example when I said peace, protest and everything. However, if you know the attitude of the person, since attitude is a specific determinant of behavior, it is easy to predict that how they are going to behave. ठीक है? We will see to what extent attitude behavior consistency is existing, and that I'll discuss with you later. But as of now, attitude is a better determinant of behavior as compared to values, right? Now the question is why it is important for us. You are going to be an administrator. Let us say you have to implement a program, a policy. Let us say Swachh Bharat mission. You have to ask people not to use unsanitary toilets, not to defecate in open, right? You have to implement this program in your area. If you know the attitude of the people, it would be easy for you to describe the situation. It would be easy to understand their behavior. It would be easy for you to predict how they are going to behave when will you be implementing this program. And then it would be easy for you to control their behavior so that you can orient it according to your intention. As in, if you want your program to be successful, you know, you have already predicted, given their attitude, how they are going to behave. So now you know that what kind of behavior would be there when you are going to implement Swachh Bharat mission. So beforehand only you should be prepared in case they are not positively disposed towards this Swachh Bharat mission. Then you can already be prepared to influence them or persuade them. ये बाद में पढ़ेंगे. To socially influence or persuade them so as to be positively oriented towards Swachh Bharat mission. Is that very clear? So if you know the attitude of the person, it is easy to describe the situation. It is easy to understand the situation. It is easy to predict the behavior, and accordingly, being an administrator, that's your job. You will be able to control the behavior in case it is not the desired behavior. Is this very clear? So that is the significance of knowing the attitude of the person. So write down, if you have the knowledge of an if you have the knowledge about the attitude of the person, if you have the knowledge about the attitude of the person, it would be easy to describe, understand, predict and control their behavior. To understand, describe, predict and control their behavior. Clear for everyone? Next, give the heading, characteristic of the attitude. Characteristic of the attitude. Characteristic of the attitude. First, they are enduring. They are enduring. Enduring matlab lasting over a period of time. Remember, I told you, sorry guys, I'm sitting right now, so I can't come before the screen. Just listen essay, thodi der. So, enduring matlab they are lasting over a period of time. I told you that when values, attitude, ethics, morals, lot of investment goes in shaping these things, right? Emotional investment, time, cost, energy. So once it develops, it stays for a longer period of time. It doesn't change overnight. So these are enduring. It is lasting over a period of time. First point. Second, they are acquired or learned. As a result of socialization. This we have already talked about. They are acquired or learned as a result of socialization. They are acquired or learned as a result of socialization. They are acquired or learned as a result of socialization. Now, why do you carry a certain attitude? We'll discuss the functions later. But do you realize that your attitude towards other people, towards other object, towards other idea depends upon what function it is serving for you? Functional matlab it is performing some need, it is serving some need for you. और वो कुछ भी हो सकता है, right? So you hold a certain attitude because it is performing a certain function. I know it might be confusing. I'll just give you an example. This is the attitude holder. Let us say person A. I am holding the attitude, and my attitude towards this pen, it will be shaped by the fact what function that attitude is serving for me. I will be positively disposed towards this pen because by being positively disposed towards this pen, it is serving my economic function. Right? Okay. Now, why do a certain community people have a negative attitude towards another community people? That can be because by holding that attitude, it is helping you having your hegemony in the society. Let's put it this way. So there is a community X, there is a community Y. So if X community is having a certain attitude towards Y community, that's more because having that attitude towards Y community is helping them establish their hegemony in the society. Is that very clear? Now, let us say there is some policy, there is some political party or any organization, your attitude towards that political party would also be shaped by the fact what need that political party is serving for you. I know that if that political party comes to power, my business will flourish. I have a very positive attitude towards that political party because it is going to serve my economic needs. I know if a particular political party comes to power, then the infrastructural development would take place. And that is my need. I will be positively disposed towards this political party because that is what my need is. I want my social infrastructure to develop. I want roads to be developed. I want schools and educational institutions to be established, right? So my attitude would be driven by the fact what function that attitude is serving. आज मुझे पता है, आप कभी कभी देखते हो एक कोई, मैं आपको आपकी भाषा में और सबसे कॉमन एग्जांपल देके बताती हूँ. आपने कभी देखा है कि एक कोई आज किसी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी में होता है, ठीक है, एंड दे आर बास्किंग इन ग्लोरी एंड दे आर सेइंग ऑल गुड थिंग्स अबाउट दैट पॉलिटिकल पार्टी एंड देयर इज सम अदर पार्टी व्हिच इज देयर इन ऑपोजिशन. ऑब्वियसली ऐसा तो होगा ही हमेशा, ठीक है, और द अदर पार्टी, ऑपोजिट पॉलिटिकल पार्टी, थोड़े दिन में आप देखोगे कि वो बंदा उस पार्टी को छोड़ के दूसरी पार्टी ज्वाइन कर लिया. एक बंदा जो डे वन ये कह रहा था कि दैट अदर पॉलिटिकल पार्टी इज नॉट सर्विंग एनी पर्पस, दे आर रॉन्ग, दे आर नॉट डूइंग एनी डेवलपमेंट, द वेरी नेक्स्ट टाइम यू सी द पर्सन हैज जॉइन्ड दैट पॉलिटिकल पार्टी. व्हाई दैट एटीट्यूड गॉट चेंज्ड? The attitude which initially was so negative now became so positive. Why? Because now having that positive attitude is serving his interest better. भाई पहली पॉलिटिकल पार्टी में रहकर उनके पॉलिटिकल एस्पिरेशन सेटिस्फाई नहीं हो रहे थे. सो वेरी कन्वीनियंटली द पर्सन चेंज द एटीट्यूड, मूव टुवर्ड्स द अदर पॉलिटिकल पार्टी एंड देयर द पॉलिटिकल एस्पिरेशंस वाज गेटिंग सेटिस्फाइड. सो द एटीट्यूड आल्सो चेंज्ड. So the attitude that the attitude holder is having towards the attitude object depends upon the need that that attitude is serving for you. Is that clear? So whether my attitude would be positive or negative will depend upon that what kind of purpose it is serving for me. Is this very clear? Is this very clear for everyone? ठीक है? Did you get the point? So in general, this was a very layman language and that is why I gave you this language. This will enable you to understand. Or baki, when we'll study the functions of attitude, you will understand. Is that clear? Another thing, when we are studying the function of attitude, it's a theory which is given by Daniel Katz. तो ये हम तब पढ़ेंगे. But anyhow, did you understand this point? ठीक है? चलो, next लिखो. Attitude are held because they perform some function for the attitude holder. Attitude may involve individual or groups. Attitude may involve individual or groups. You can have a collective attitude also, and you can have an attitude towards individuals, right? Attitude are evaluative judgments. Attitude are evaluative judgments. Attitude shapes your behavior. थर्ड पॉइंट ऐसे नहीं पूछो, ये नहीं बता पाऊंगी मैं. आई एम स्पीकिंग इन अ वेरी स्पॉन्टेनियस मैनर, सो दिस आई कांट टेल. थर्ड पॉइंट नहीं पूछो. कुछ एक दो वर्ड बताओ उस पॉइंट के तो बताती हूँ. डिफरेंस बिटवीन एटीट्यूड एंड बिहेवियर. सी, attitude determines your behavior. Remember, we discussed three components of the attitude. Remember, value, attitude, moral ethics, VAME. I said there are three components: belief, emotion, behavioral tendency. There is a desire for action, right? But there is no guarantee that the behavior would be there. So behavior refers to the action that you perform, whereas attitude is the readiness of the psyche. Readiness of the psyche, that is your mind, to act or react in a certain way. तो हम ये कह सकते हैं कि attitude has a desire to act, behavior is the action. Who asked this point? किसने ये क्वेश्चन पूछा था? आदित्य, you need to tell me, did you understand or not, बच्चे? Aditya, you need to tell me this. I am saying, I'll repeat myself so that if there is any further confusion. I am saying attitude is a readiness of my mind to act or react in a certain way. So when I was discussing the structure of VAME, that is attitude, I said there is belief, there is emotion, and there is action, or let us say behavioral tendency. So you have a tendency to behave. But whether you will behave or not, that is not guaranteed. So attitude is that readiness of my mind to act or react in a certain way, but behavior is the action. Is this very clear? ठीक है? हाँ, स्लो हो रही हूँ. चलो फिर से बोलती हूँ. अब मैं सारी बोल देती हूँ. किसी को सेकंड पॉइंट चाहिए, किसी को थर्ड पॉइंट चाहिए. I'll repeat. They are enduring, lasting over a period of time. Second, they are acquired or learned as a result of socialization. Chitransh, I'm saying every point now. They are acquired or learned as a result of socialization. Next, attitude are held because, this is the third point. Attitude are held because they perform some functions. Attitude are held because they perform some function for the attitude holder. They perform some function for the attitude holder. हाँ, Divyansh, these are the points under the characteristic feature of the attitude. एक सेकेंड, अब मैं रिपीट करने से पहले एक पॉइंट क्लियर कर देती हूँ. हम ये क्यों लिखते हैं दिव्यांश? कभी लेट अस से एथिक्स में क्वेश्चन आ गया दैट व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय एटीट्यूड, व्हाट आर द कैरेक्टरिस्टिक फीचर्स एंड हाउ दे आर शेप्ड, something like that, right? So you should have the fodder to write something, even if they say define attitude and how they are shaped. ठीक है ना? तो सिर्फ डिफाइन करने से नहीं होगा. You have to write some of the characteristic features. ठीक है? So third point was attitude are held because they perform some function for the attitude holder. Fourth point. Fourth, attitude may involve individuals or groups. Attitude may involve individuals or groups. Next, attitude are evaluative judgments. Attitude are evaluative judgments. Attitude are evaluative judgments. Nosheen, you need to give me 5 minutes. I'll answer बच्चे. Let me just read it. This characteristic वाले points. नहीं तो वो फिर खो जाएंगे बीच में. Attitude are evaluative judgments. यहां तक लिखा है ना हमने बस. इसके बाद भी कुछ बोला है मैंने. नहीं ना? Next लिखो. Attitude are always communicated. I'll explain. Attitude are always communicated. Attitude are always communicated. Attitude are always communicated. Either verbally or non-verbally. Evaluative judgment सिद्धांत हमने बोला था ना, मैंने जब पिछली बार डेफिनेशन कराई थी मैंने कहा था attitude are the result of positive and negative evaluation. Remember जब VAME की क्लास थी, so I said what is attitude? It is about positive and negative evaluation with respect to object, people, idea. Evaluative इसलिए बोलते हैं आप attitude तुरंत नहीं डेवलप कर लेते हो, हम evaluate करते हैं. If I have this attitude, will it be positive for me or will it be negative for me? If I have this attitude, how it is going to work for me? So your attitude is the result of the evaluative judgment. Is this very clear? ठीक है? नहीं, एटीट्यूड शेप्स योर बिहेवियर. रिमझिम ये नेक्स्ट पॉइंट नहीं था, ये ना आदित्य का क्वेश्चन था कि एटीट्यूड और बिहेवियर में क्या डिफरेंस होता है, तो उसका मैं जवाब दे रही थी. इसीलिए ना तुम लोग बीच में सवाल पूछते हो ना तो कंफ्यूजन हो जाता है. ठीक है, तो क्वेश्चन रखा करो अपने पास और 2 मिनट बाद पूछा करो. ठीक है, नहीं रिमझिम वो पॉइंट नहीं था, वो मैं आदित्य के क्वेश्चन का जवाब दे रही थी कि एटीट्यूड और बिहेवियर में क्या डिफरेंस होता है. इज दैट वेरी क्लियर? कुछ नहीं समझ आएगा तो बाद में क्लास के एंड में भी पूछ सकते हो. आई एम हियर ओनली. ठीक है नौशीन, जस्ट 5 मिनट्स बच्चे, आई विल गेट बैक टू यू. सो एटीट्यूड इज कम्युनिकेटेड आइदर वर्बली और नॉन वर्बली. ये बड़ी अच्छी चीज है. डू यू रियलाइज दैट विदाउट इवन योर सेइंग योर एटीट्यूड गेट्स कम्युनिकेटेड. और मेरा माइक गिर गया, एक सेकेंड. whatever is your attitude, that will be communicated. So either verbally your attitude would be communicated or non-verbally also through your facial expressions. Suppose someone entered the classroom and the person is very beautiful, the person is very handsome, whatsoever. Your facial expression will say what attitude you have, right? So you are appreciating the physical appearance of the other person. So your attitude would be reflected. However, let us say there is some lizard in the class or anything of that sort, और आप देखते हो ना एकदम से आपका expression, there are some people who gets very fear but they cannot say that, लेकिन वो चेहरे पे दिख जाता है कि डर लग गया है, बैंड बज गई है, सामने lizard है. ठीक है, so that is your attitude is communicated. Is this very clear? And the most common way of your attitude getting communicated is, पहले जो मेरे टाइम पे ज्यादा होता था, that is wearing the sweatshirts of your college. Oh my God, I still remember when I was doing my UPSC coaching. So I used to wear the sweatshirt of my college, right? So that is conveying I was proud of my college, okay? I had a lot of pride in the fact I belonged to a certain college. So that was reflected because I was wearing the sweatshirt. So that is also that your attitude is getting communicated. कभी आपने देखा आप वो कोटेशन बेस्ड टी शर्ट्स पहनते हो, वो कोट्स वाली टी शर्ट्स पहन के घूमते हो. मेरे टाइम पे ना तंत्रा टी शर्ट्स बड़ी आती थी. मेरे टाइम से मेरा मतलब है व्हेन आई वाज इन कॉलेज. सो हम ना बड़ी खरीद खरीद के लाते थे दोस्त तंत्रा टी शर्ट्स, उस पे ना कोटेशन लिखी होती थी. सो we used to wear those quotation based t-shirts because that quotation was the reflection of my attitude. आजकल कैसे होता है, जैसे आपका WhatsApp status. So your WhatsApp status और जो आप डालते हो, so if you are writing something on your WhatsApp status, it is you are trying to convey your attitude to the public. Is that very clear? ठीक है. So your attitude need not be conveyed directly. It can be conveyed indirectly also through the status, through your status, it can be conveyed. It can be conveyed through the quotation, the t-shirts that you are wearing. It can be conveyed through your facial expression. So attitude can be conveyed verbally, it can be conveyed non-verbally. But whatever is your attitude, it would be communicated, whether you want it or not. Is this clear? हाँ, एग्जैक्टली अपना टाइम आएगा. हाँ, यू गॉट द पॉइंट विच आई वाज ट्राइंग टू से. ठीक है, तो कभी कभी आप देखते हो ना कि कुछ लोग, मतलब कुछ लोग क्या, जो अपनी स्टोरी और वो सब डलती है व्हाट्सएप पे या इंस्टा पे, सो यू आर राइटिंग दोज शायरीज, यू आर राइटिंग दोज कोटेशंस, और फेसबुक पे भी आप शेयर करते हो अगर किसी की कोई कोट आई हुई होती है या कोई मीम कहीं से आता है. सो व्हाई डू यू डू दैट? यू आर कम्युनिकेटिंग योर एटीट्यूड विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू दैट. इज दिस वेरी क्लियर? Is it making sense? ठीक है. So attitude are always communicated whether you want it or not. So they are expressed verbally or non-verbally. Clear है सबको? आगे बढ़े. सिद्धांत यार, मतलब ओके. ठीक है ठीक है, समझ गई मैं. तुम लोग समझ गए वो पॉइंट. चलो. एटीट्यूड कंफर्म्स टू प्रिंसिपल ऑफ कंसिस्टेंसी. एटीट्यूड कंफर्म्स टू द प्रिंसिपल ऑफ कंसिस्टेंसी. व्हाट आई मीन, एज आई हैव सेड बिफोर, दैट इंड्योरिंग होते हैं और एटीट्यूड कंसिस्टेंट होता है. नौशीन, नाउ आई एम कमिंग बैक टू योर क्वेश्चन. सो ये पॉइंट बस लिखो, फिर मैं नौशीन का क्वेश्चन पहले आंसर करूंगी. एटीट्यूड कंफर्म्स टू प्रिंसिपल ऑफ कंसिस्टेंसी. एटीट्यूड कंफर्म्स टू प्रिंसिपल ऑफ कंसिस्टेंसी. See, Nausheen is saying, ma'am, can we say a person of integrity has a constant attitude? Example, Gandhi ji always sticked to non-violence. ठीक है. Now, what you need to understand, एटीट्यूड तो हम सबका कंसिस्टेंट ही होता है बच्चे, क्योंकि आई फाउंड अ शर्ट लाइक गाइज लाइक यू रन अराउंड. शांतनु, बस आई अंडरस्टूड. ठीक है, हाँ चलो. सो नौशीन, सी एटीट्यूड बच्चे सभी का कंसिस्टेंट ही होता है, बिकॉज एटीट्यूड डजंट चेंज ओवरनाइट. ठीक है ना. सो इट आइदर योर नीड हैज significantly changed, or there is some other attitude which I'll discuss when I'm teaching this functions of attitude. But attitude, more or less, I told you na, it conforms to the principle of consistency. So more or less attitude is consistent. But now you will say a person of integrity फिर कैसे हुआ different from the person of who's not of integrity? That is when we come down to the point of attitude, behavior, consistency. जरूरी नहीं है. I'll give you an example before I proceed. Nausheen, let us say my attitude is A1. ठीक है. My attitude and my behavior is consistent. ठीक है. Whatever. Attitude towards anything of Gandhi ji was peace. He was talking about peace. He was talking about non-violence. And his attitude was reflected in his behavior. He was a person of integrity. Why? Because no matter whatever was the situation, his attitude was always reflected in his behavior. So whether चौरी चौरा incident वगैरह हो गया कहीं पे भी, his attitude, his value system was based on integrity, and with respect to any object, any idea, any situation, he sticked to integrity, and that was reflected in his behavior. So his attitude was consistent with his behavior. तो जो लोग ये फॉलो नहीं करते उनके केस में क्या होता है कि एटीट्यूड इज नॉट कंसिस्टेंट विद बिहेवियर. आपका वैल्यू सिस्टम इतनी जल्दी चेंज नहीं करता है, तो हो सकता है आपका वैल्यू सिस्टम भी एथिकल है, मेरा वैल्यू सिस्टम भी एथिकल है, वी बोथ वांट टू बी ऑनेस्ट, बट गिवन द नेचर ऑफ द सिचुएशन यू डिसाइडेड टू प्रैक्टिस ऑनेस्टी एंड द अदर पर्सन डिड नॉट. Did you get my point? So the problem here is with respect to consistency. और हम देखेंगे कि बहुत सारे फैक्टर्स होते हैं जो इस बात को गवर्न करते हैं that when and where your attitude will be consistent with your behavior. इज दैट वेरी क्लियर? एक छोटा सा एग्जाम्पल दे देती हूं बिफोर आई प्रोसीड. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आई एम अ पर्सन जिसको बड़ा फर्क पड़ता हो कि लोग क्या कहेंगे. ठीक है, तो उसमें क्या होगा, दैट डिपेंडिंग अपॉन व्हाट द पीपल थिंक, आई विल चेंज माई बिहेवियर, नो मैटर व्हाट इज माई एटीट्यूड. डिड यू गेट माई पॉइंट? Did you get the point? That no matter whatever is my attitude, my behavior would be determined by what others are thinking. Because I am the kind of person who believes कि लोग क्या कहेंगे. ठीक है, let us suppose on the contrary, I am a person who doesn't care लोग क्या कहेंगे. So my attitude will be consistent with my behavior. So the attitude is the same. What is changing is the behavior. Is this very clear? नौशीन, डिड यू अंडरस्टैंड? ठीक है, कैन आई प्रोसीड? चलो, एक पॉइंट और लिख लो. एटीट्यूड वेरीज फ्रॉम पर्सन टू पर्सन. दे आर सब्जेक्टिव एक्सपीरियंसेस. एटीट्यूड आर सब्जेक्टिव एक्सपीरियंसेस. एटीट्यूड आर सब्जेक्टिव एक्सपीरियंसेस. They vary from person to person. They vary from person to person. Next heading डालो, structure of the attitude. Give the heading structure of the attitude. Write this much. सब्जेक्टिव एक्सपीरियंसेस. सब्जेक्टिव एक्सपीरियंस इसलिए बोलते हैं क्योंकि हर इंसान का एटीट्यूड एक दूसरे से वेरी करता है. कंसिस्टेंट उस इंडिविजुअल के लिए और सब्जेक्टिव एक्सपीरियंसेस मतलब हर इंडिविजुअल का एक्सपीरियंस डिफरेंट होता है. Your attitude towards reservation can be very different from my attitude towards reservation. Right? So it is subjective experiences. You and me cannot have the same attitude towards the object. We can, but that depends if we share the same experiences. So, Prasant, you are getting confused in two different contexts. Subjectivity here is that how it varies from person to person. So it is subjective. But it is consistent with respect to one person. Matlab, my attitude towards reservation today, whatever it is, tomorrow it will not change. So I am consistent in my attitude towards reservation, whatever attitude it is. But my attitude towards reservation can be different from your attitude. No. My attitude is my attitude. It is none of your attitude. Did you get the point? Prasanna, did you understand? ये बनाओ फिर I'll explain. Let me know once you are done with this. नहीं, you didn't understand? Okay. ओहो, कुछ भी समझ रहे हो? हाँ चित्रांश, हम कहते हैं ना, wait, I'll answer 2-3 questions here. चित्रांश, function of attitude, I told you ना कि attitude held by the attitude holder depends upon what function it is serving, right? So let us say I have an attitude towards a certain thing because it is serving some need for me. However, based अगर मेरी need बदल जाए, let us say, ठीक है, या मुझे ये बता दे कोई that there is some other attitude which will serve my need better, I'll immediately change it. So your point is absolutely correct. It depends with respect to the exposure. What kind of need it is serving. If it is undergoing a change, then my attitude can change. थोड़ा सा patience रखो guys. Let me finish. Let me come to the topic of functions and attitude and behavior consistency. You will get the clarity. ठीक है? All I'm trying to say is that it depends what purpose it is serving. अगर मेरा purpose ही change हो जाए, तो automatically फिर मेरा attitude change हो जाएगा. जैसे सम्राट अशोक, right? Before Kaling War, his attitude was different. After Kaling War, his attitude was different. ठीक है ना? Because the need changed. Now he had adopted the policy of Dhamma. He believed in, peaceful aspect, right? Non-violence. So obviously his attitude towards war changed because his needs changed. Did you get my point? ठीक है? Now let me come back to Prasant. Prasant, you are confusing two things here. यहां पे दो इंडिविजुअल है A और B. There are two individuals. Not necessarily they have same attitude towards reservation. A belongs to a certain caste, B belongs to certain caste. Obviously, which attitude is serving their need better, that would be determined by it. So A and B with respect to reservation can have different attitude if they belong to different communities. Let us put it this way if you can understand. However, A's attitude with respect to reservation आज भी let us say 2020 में कुछ था, तो ऐसा तो है नहीं कि 2022 में चेंज हो रहा है. until and unless कोई बहुत ही major changes आ जाए, ठीक है. So all I'm trying to say is there is a consistency in A's attitude with respect to reservation. So that is consistency. And subjective experience मतलब भैया A का experience अलग है, B का अलग है, तो दोनों का attitude with respect to the same thing can be very different. Is this very clear? आशीष नहीं, अभी ये सब कुछ नहीं, प्लीज नहीं, unnecessarily don't complicate. Don't complicate. हाँ विक्रम, हम बात करेंगे जब हम सोशल इन्फ्लुएंस और परसुएशन की बात करेंगे, तो ये भी हो सकता है दैट योर बिहेवियर इज चेंजिंग बट नॉट योर एटीट्यूड. एब्सोल्युटली, दैट इज नोन एज कॉम्प्लायंस. बट गिव मी सम टाइम, आने तो दो. एब्सोल्युटली, एब्सोल्युटली अबू, इट कैन बी. Exactly, Prasant. Exactly. Yes. If your belief changes, you will remain consistent with the new belief system until and unless it changes again. ठीक है. अभिषेक, एटीट्यूड सिचुएशनल बेस्ड नहीं होता है, बिहेवियर सिचुएशनल बेस्ड होता है. इनहेरेंट एटीट्यूड वही रहता है. आप माहौल देखकर रिएक्ट करते हो वो एक अलग बात है, पर योर इनहेरेंट एटीट्यूड इज द सेम. Is this clear? Now, just one thing. Whatever questions that you have asked so far, is everything clear? Only then I'll proceed. But I'll just put a disclaimer. Have some patience. Let me finish function. Let me finish attitude, behavior, consistency. आपको पता है एक चीज देखो, ये जो फ्लो में है ना स्ट्रक्चर, ये इसीलिए है. एक के बाद एक के बाद एक टॉपिक आएगा. हम क्या कर रहे हैं, हम जल्दी जल्दी सवाल पूछ रहे हैं. So you're asking the question at a very faster pace. So let me just finish these topics. आप खुद realize करोगे all your questions got answered. ठीक है? But anyhow, can we proceed now? कहाँ थे हम? हाँ. देखो, I've already discussed this CAB model, that is cognition, emotion and behavior tendencies. बस एक एक लाइन में लिखते जाओ. Cognition. इसे कैब मॉडल कहते हैं. अगर क्वेश्चन पूछे व्हाट आर द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ एटीट्यूड और व्हाट इज द कंपोनेंट ऑफ एटीट्यूड और व्हाट इज द सीएबी मॉडल, आंसर रिमेन्स द सेम. इवन इफ दे से व्हाट इज एबीसी मॉडल, आंसर रिमेन्स द सेम. इज दिस क्लियर? राइट डाउन. बिलीफ, ideas and opinion of attitude holder, ideas and opinion of attitude holder towards the attitude object, towards the attitude object is your belief. ठीक है? नेक्स्ट, इमोशन में लिखना, अफेक्टिव में. I'll repeat the first point. Idea and opinion of attitude holder towards the attitude object. Idea and opinion of attitude holder towards the attitude object. Next, emotions generated in attitude holder towards the attitude object. Affective का मतलब होता है emotions generated in attitude holder towards the attitude object. Towards the attitude object. Action tendency. It reflects our behavioral readiness. It reflects our behavioral readiness. It reflects our behavioral readiness. बस एग्जाम्पल हम ऑलरेडी लिख चुके हैं. अफेक्टिव, अफेक्टिव मतलब इमोशन. सीएबी मॉडल है ना, हमने पहली क्लास में किया था सीएबी मॉडल. कॉग्निशन, अफेक्टिव. अफेक्टिव इज द इमोशन विच इज जनरेटेड इन द एटीट्यूड होल्डर टुवर्ड्स द एटीट्यूड ऑब्जेक्ट. सौरभ, It is the emotion generated in the attitude holder towards the attitude object. That is affective. I believe India has a rich cultural heritage. That's my belief. It has generated an emotion in me, feeling of awe, reverence, respect for the country. So that is the affective component. My belief is India has a rich cultural heritage. But that belief has generated an emotion in me. The feeling of respect, awe, reverence towards my country. So that is the affective component. However, it doesn't guarantee that whether you will indulge in a behavior to preserve that rich cultural heritage or not. You believe that India has a rich cultural heritage. It has generated an emotion, feeling of awe, reverence, but that doesn't guarantee now that we will work towards preserving that rich cultural heritage of India. कोई guarantee नहीं है. Is that very clear? Now, if you look at the diagram, prejudice is a type of attitude. Prejudice is a type of attitude which develops when your beliefs become stereotypical. So what is prejudice? Prejudice is an example of a negative attitude. It is an example of a rigid attitude. It is an example of a negative attitude with respect to other group. So your attitude becomes a prejudice when your belief becomes a stereotype. This is what the diagram says. I hope the diagram is self-explanatory. And I hope that you have made the diagram. So write down. Write down. Prejudices are examples of negative attitude towards a particular group. Prejudices are examples of negative attitude towards a particular group. Full stop. It is based on stereotypical beliefs. I'll repeat. Prejudices are the example of negative attitude towards a particular group. Full stop. Prejudice is based on stereotypical beliefs about the specific group. It is based on stereotypical beliefs about a specific group. Stereotype से क्या मतलब होता है? A belief system, देखो बोर्ड देखो, स्क्रीन देखो. A belief system which is rigid, belief system which is irrational, belief system which is overgeneralized, which is overlooking the individual differences. That is what it means when we say the belief system. That has become stereotypical. So belief system is stereotypical का मतलब when your beliefs have become rigid, irrational, over generalized, you are overlooking the individual difference. For example, आपने stereotype बना ही लिया that the girls cannot drive or girls are not good with mathematics, right? So you have developed that stereotype. Not necessarily all girls are bad with maths. There can be girls who are good with mathematics. There can be example of girls who are very good drivers, right? There are girl pilots also. तो कार ड्राइव करना तो अलग बात है, वो प्लेन उड़ा लेती हैं. So the point which I'm trying to say is that when you overlook the individual differences and you overgeneralize your belief, that is stereotype. कि हर महिला ऐसी है. So that is the problem. Is that very clear? So when your belief turns a stereotype, that is the prejudice, it generates this emotion. लिखना नहीं. I am just showing you the diagram. It might generate the emotion of hate, anger, jealousy, which further can result into desire for action, and that action tendency is to harm others. Ye likhna nahi, this is already there in the flowchart that you might have made. Is this clear? So the last point which we wrote was, it is based on stereotypical beliefs about the specific group. Ab likho, the cognitive component of prejudice, is frequently accompanied, the cognitive component of prejudice is frequently accompanied by dislike or hatred, accompanied by the cognitive component of prejudice is frequently accompanied by dislike or hatred, bracket में the affective component. Dislike or hatred, in bracket write the affective component. Full stop. Next point. Prejudice may also get translated into discrimination. Prejudice may also get translated into discrimination. That is the behavioral component. Whereby people behave in a less positive way, towards a particular target group, Full stop. History contains numerous examples of discrimination. Based on race, class or caste. Based on race, caste or class. For example, the genocide committed by Nazis in Germany against Jewish people. The genocide committed by Nazis in Germany against Jewish people is an extreme example. The genocide committed by Nazis in Germany against Jewish people is an extreme example of prejudice and discrimination. Next. Our own society has witnessed many incidences of prejudice. Based on gender, religion, caste, illness, etc. क्लियर है? नेक्स्ट राइट डाउन. See, do you realize, as I told you, that the beliefs, specifically if they are the core beliefs, it is very difficult to change. And once you have a certain core belief, it generates an emotion, right? So not always you are able to tackle the belief or the emotional component, but the behavioral component can be corrected by means of effective laws. For example, I have a certain prejudice against certain section of the society, which has generated an emotion of anger, hate, disgust, and I have a tendency to discriminate or harm that group, but not necessarily I will engage in that harm or violence against that group. Why? Because there exist laws which will prohibit you from committing that action. But if you are not committing that action, doesn't mean that you in future you cannot commit, because even today the belief and the emotion are still intact. You still have a stereotypical belief towards that group. You still have emotion of anger, hate, jealousy, disgust towards them. It's just that your belief is not getting reflected, or your emotions are not getting reflected in your action, because your action is prohibited by certain laws. Is this very clear? Do you realize laws can only help in deterring the behavior at this point, but there is no guarantee. Suppose you are able to find a loophole in the law. Suppose you know that the criminal justice system is such that there is lack of infrastructure, so justice delayed is justice denied. You know that the deterrence is not there. You will resort to the action of discrimination or violence. Why? Because your belief and emotion are still intact. So if you want to bring about large changes in the society, changes at the level of law is just one step. It is not the ultimate step. So it might be the necessary condition to bring about changes. It is not the sufficient condition. The sufficient condition is you have to change the belief system. Is this very clear for everyone? You have to change the belief system. Write down. In many cases, discriminatory behavior can be curbed by law. In many cases, discriminatory behavior can be curbed by law. For example, Person with Disability Act. Person with Disability Act. SC/ST प्रिवेंशन ऑफ अट्रॉसिटी एक्ट, आप और भी दे सकते हो. सो पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटी एक्ट, SC/ST प्रिवेंशन ऑफ अट्रॉसिटी एक्ट, एक्सेट्रा. However, the cognitive and the emotional component of prejudice, are more difficult to change. But the cognitive and emotional component of prejudice are more difficult to change. Therefore, handling prejudices requires specific strategy. Therefore, handling prejudices requires specific strategy. Specific strategies. What can be done? Suggest. How can you tackle this cognitive and emotional component? Okay, tell me, how can you tackle the stereotype वाला component? अगर stereotype नहीं है तो emotion नहीं generate होंगे. So how can I control or manage this cognitive component? How can I ensure that the belief system does not turn into a stereotype? Give me some suggestions. सोचो और जवाब दो. Scientific temper. Okay. हाँ रिमझिम, सॉरी वो अपडेट नहीं हो रहा था इसलिए मैंने देखा नहीं. इलनेस, HIV एड्स illness हुई ना, so we have a prejudice towards them, so that is what it means. Agencies of socialization needs to be improved. Scientific temper develop karo. Make them experience the capabilities of the group they are stereotyping against. Rimjim, makes sense. Egalitarian society, value-based education. Okay. Family awareness. Okay. Okay, Priya, makes sense. Anshul, okay. Chaitanya, good. Yes. Cross-cultural interactions and exposure. Very good. Controlling or curbing dissemination of fake news and misinformation. Sagarika, perfect. Moral education, Abu, perfect. Media ke through, Shantanu, we'll take the point. Pushpendra, we'll take the point. Progressive value system. Okay, so largely we know what to write, right? Chalo, likho. Write down. More or less we are in synergy as far as the suggestions are concerned. Very good, Aman. Abhishek, absolutely correct. Write down. Education and information dissemination. Education and information dissemination for correcting the stereotypes. Education and information dissemination education and information dissemination for correcting stereotypes related to specific target groups. Related to specific target groups. Full stop. Next point. Increasing intergroup contact. Increasing intergroup contact. Increasing intergroup contact for direct communication. For direct communication. For direct communication and removal of mistrust. Promoting intergroup contact for direct communication and removal of mistrust and removal of mistrust between the groups. Between the groups. Between the groups and even discovery of positive qualities and even discovery of positive qualities of that group and even discovery of positive qualities of that group. Next, डिस्कवरिंग द पॉजिटिव क्वालिटीज ऑफ दैट ग्रुप. आई थिंक ये किसी का तो सजेशन था, किसी ने बोला भी था एक पॉइंट कि हाईलाइटिंग द केपेबिलिटीज ऑफ द ग्रुप अगेंस्ट whom we are having that stereotype. Next, highlighting individual identity rather than group identity. Highlighting individual identity rather than group identity. Highlighting individual identity rather than group identity. मतलब I told you, na, prejudice is intergroup. So you have put a label on the entire group कि वो ऐसा पूरा group ऐसा है. So rather than focusing on the group identity, we should highlight individual identities. That you should not overlook the individual differences. No matter, all of us belong to a certain group, let us say, but all of us are not same. So you should not have a generalized assumptions about the community. You should not have a prejudice against them. So you should highlight the individual identity as against the group identity. Is that clear? Thus, weakening the importance of group, thus weakening the importance of group as the basis of evaluating the other person, as the basis of evaluating the other person. Matlab, the evaluation should be on the basis of the individual characteristic, not on the basis of the group that person belongs to. Right? For example, you should not be judged for the academic background that you have. If you belong to certain university or a college, you should not be judged on the basis of that. Right? If you belong to certain community, you should not be judged on the basis of that. If you belong to certain country, you should not be judged on the basis of that. Right? So you should be the assumption or the basis of evaluating you should be on the basis of your own individual identity. It should not be on the basis of the group to which you belong to. Is that very clear? ठीक है. Now, you must be wondering why did I not mention the points that you guys have written. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. The thing is, these are the points which can be written as an immediate steps. भाई अगर कोई prejudice exist कर रहा है तो अभी के लिए मैं क्या करूं? ठीक है, तो भाई इंफॉर्मेशन डिसेमिनेशन करो, एजुकेट करो, ठीक है. लेकिन वॉट एवर पॉइंट्स दैट यू हैव सजेस्टेड इज एब्सोल्युटली फाइन, बट दैट कैन बी रिटन एज अ लॉन्ग टर्म measure. For example, value based education system without any ideological coloration, the education system based on scientific temper, right? Or the role of media, somebody suggested vicarious reinforcements. So ye on a regular basis has to be done so that you have right kind of agencies of socialization. Pushpendra, the heading is how this problem can be tackled. The behavior can be tackled through laws. How can you bring about changes in the cognitive and the emotional component of the prejudice? Right? So if you want a specific heading, it can be how to handle prejudice. How to handle prejudice. Is this clear? How to handle prejudice. तो एक तरीका तो यह है कि इस तरह से हैंडल करो. दूसरा यह है prejudice डेवलप ही मत होने दो. तो फिर प्रॉपर सोशल, राइट डाउन, minimize the opportunity for learning prejudices. Minimize the opportunity for learning prejudices. Minimize the opportunity for learning prejudices. For example, value-based socialization. Value-based socialization. Value-based socialization. और इफेक्टिव सोशलाइजेशन थ्रू वेरियस एजेंसीज, ये भी लिख सकते हो. इफेक्टिव सोशलाइजेशन थ्रू वेरियस एजेंसीज. अब उसमें आप एग्जांपल दे दो. साइंटिफिक एजुकेशन विदाउट एनी आइडियोलॉजिकल कलरेशन, moral education, Is this clear? Role of media. आप जिन groups के against you have the prejudices, so obviously there will be certain people belonging to those groups who are doing quite well morally, ethically, ठीक है, they are perfect role models. So through vicarious reinforcement, the perception can be changed that not everyone in the community is same, right? So that can be done. Is this very clear? So through vicarious reinforcements, these changes can be brought about. So role of media, role of education system, everything can be written here. Somebody suggested sports. Absolutely, intergroup activity. हमने एक पॉइंट लिखा था ना, इंक्रीज इंटरग्रुप कॉन्टैक्ट फॉर डायरेक्ट कम्युनिकेशन. ब्रैकेट में लिख सकते हो वाया मीन्स ऑफ स्पोर्ट्स. Is that clear? You can have various cultural exchanges or exchange programs which can be organized. Community lunches can be organized. Remember, I think I've said, भात खा के कोई किसी की जात नहीं पूछता. I think I gave you this example when I was discussing caste system with you. Organize community lunches. In case I have not given this example, कहा जाता है, it's a saying कि भात खा के कोई किसी की जात नहीं पूछता. तो मतलब कहने का ये है, if you are having community lunches, you are having lunches with each other, so it facilitate direct contact with each other and it enables removal of any mistrust between the communities. So whether it is sports, whether it is cultural exchange programs, whether it is community lunches, absolutely you can resort to these practices. Is this very clear for everyone? Is it making sense? Cinema. The cultural platforms can be used for ensuring rightful depiction of the various communities so as to do away with the prejudices. Is that very clear? ठीक है. वो कौन सी मूवी थी यार, देखो फिर मैं भूल जाती हूँ. There was a movie ना, in that Sridevi's daughter has played that role of commercial fighter pilot. क्या तो नाम था, फिर मेरे दिमाग से निकल गया. Very famous. It was a biopic and it just slipped out of my mind. ठीक है. So it just slipped out of my mind. But all I'm trying to say is that these cultural platforms or cinema can play a very, Dangal for that matter. Dangal can be an example. ठीक है. Secret Superstar can be an example. चलो thankfully मुझे कुछ तो मूवी याद आ रही है. तो Dangal can be an example. Secret Superstar can be an example. So how they can help you in overcoming the prejudices. Is that very clear? Gunjan Saxena. Yeah, thank you so much. Neerja, absolutely, absolutely. This is what I mean, right? Thank you, thank you. It just slipped out of my mind. Thank you. Gunjan Saxena, Neerja movie. Then you have Dangal, you have Secret Superstar. So these cultural platforms can be used. Is that very clear? Okay. Is it making sense? ठीक. Anshul, you're saying something, बच्चे? कुछ कह रहे हो आप? Clear हुआ? ठीक है. So you can write all these points. Write down a question. किसी ने वो भी लिखा नुक्कड़ नाटक. Absolutely you can write. बिल्कुल बिल्कुल चित्रांश. Absolutely, yes, yes, absolutely. हाँ, now you got the point. Everyone, yes, yes, any movie. So basically what we are trying to say is that cultural platforms should be explored, community lunches, power of sports, cultural exchange programs, ठीक है, content of your education system, the more culturally inclusive it is. अच्छा, okay Anshul, okay. So is this clear? ठीक है. So all of this can be written. चलो, एक question लिखो. Many of the present social conflicts arise due to prejudices. Many of the present social conflicts arise due to prejudices. Illustrate. 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 Full stop. What can be done? What can be done to curb discrimination, what can be done to curb discrimination and handle prejudices? What can be done to curb discrimination and handle prejudices? What can be done to curb discrimination and handle prejudices? Question mark. It's a 10 marker question and this would be the assignment question for the day. Sanjana, बच्चे this would be the assignment. नहीं, आज संजना नहीं, आज संगीता है शायद. I'm so sorry. The coordinator ma'am today is Sangeeta. Sorry. Sangeeta, this would be the question. This would be the assignment question. ठीक है? Is this clear? So on this note, we will conclude because the next topic would not be finished in time. So what we have done so far, let me just see. We have done concept, we have done background, we have done characteristic, we have done the structure of attitude. Along with that, we have done prejudice. Okay, so tomorrow I have a lecture with you. Tomorrow I'll discuss functions of attitude, attitude, behavior, consistency. And if time permits, we'll start with social influence. लेकिन ये दोनों टॉपिक बड़े हैं तो इनमें एक पूरा लेक्चर लगेगा. ठीक है? So in 2 more classes, attitude as a topic would come to an end. हाँ, people to people contact enhance, यही है ना intergroup contact. तो intergroup contact can be facilitated through various cultural programs. It can be facilitated through educational programs. It can be facilitated through sports. It can be facilitated through community lunches. So that is what it is. ठीक है? So on this note, I conclude. First phase of society handouts were not uploaded. बच्चे first phase कौन सा था? क्योंकि मैं कई बार टीम को बोल चुकी हूँ. So मुझे एग्जैक्ट बता दो कौन सा टॉपिक अपलोडेड नहीं है, मैं टीम को बोल देती हूँ. इतनी बार मैं याद दिला चुकी हूँ ना, पता नहीं कहाँ मिस कम्युनिकेशन हो रहा है या पता नहीं कहाँ गड़बड़ हो रही है. ठीक है? Pranav, how do media acts as a diffusion of responsibility? Pranav, fake accounts. Now, let us suppose I belong to, I have made a fake account on social media. I am anonymous, right? I am trolling the other person. I am indulging myself in cyberbullying, right? But you cannot hold me responsible because it's a fake account. So in the name of anonymity, I am committing this deviant act. Why? Because I don't have any fear. I know I will not be held responsible. So there is diffusion of responsibility. वो नहीं होता पल्ला झाड़ना, हिंदी में कहते हैं डिफ्यूजन ऑफ रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, मतलब पल्ला झाड़ना. डेटरेंस नहीं है ना, या डर नहीं है, अनोनिमिटी है. इज दिस वेरी क्लियर? ठीक है? आई होप प्रणव यू अंडरस्टूड. इफ स्टिल यू हैव नॉट अंडरस्टूड, प्लीज आस्क अगेन. ठीक है? संजीत, लास्ट क्लास कब होगा? कैसे बताऊं? Divyansh, okay. Okay, Prasanth, then I'll, it is showing to them, but not for us. अच्छा ठीक है, तो technical issue है, तो they will manage it now. ठीक है? Is this clear? ठीक? So, Pranav, did you understand the point? Can I conclude the lecture now? Diffusion of responsibility in simple words means palla jharna. You know you would not be held responsible for the act. For example, there is mob lynching which is happening. Right? So you know that mob doesn't have a face. You will not be held responsible. वैसे ही social media पे collective trolling होना, सबको पता है कुछ नहीं होना. ट्रोल करके चले जाओ. सामने वाले की mental पीस हार्म हो रही है, उससे आपको फर्क नहीं पड़ता. सामने वाले को कैसा लग रहा है, उससे आपको फर्क नहीं पड़ता. और आप में डर क्यों नहीं है? आप में डर इसलिए नहीं है because you know that you will not be held accountable. The moment you have been started being held accountable, there would be a deterrence. You will think twice before committing these offenses. यही तो दिक्कत होती है कि हम क्योंकि उनको accountable hold नहीं करते हैं, कोई fear नहीं होता है. And that is why this cyberbullying or troll culture and all of this is existing. Is that clear? ठीक है? Chalo. So on this note, I conclude the lecture. I hope you have understood everything. There is just one thing. कोई पूछ रहा है last class कब होगी? तो यार अभी तो मेरा बहुत बचा है. Ethics मैं खत्म कर दूंगी. I need 2 lectures for attitude. I need 1 lecture for emotional intelligence. I need मतलब 4 more lectures. Ethics is over from my side. 4 more lectures. Ethics is over. But after that, I think post-independence and social justice would be left. So I don't know when we are planning that because prelims are coming. So let's see. But 4 more lectures and ethics is over. Okay? Chalo. On this note, I will conclude. Take care, people. Chalo. Bye. Good night.